Hello everyone, welcome back all of you. In today's session we are going to talk about capacitive sensors, and before I jump into the topic I have few instructions for those who are regularly following my lectures. Is that you don't worry about a question practice now itself. For now you just try to capture all the concepts in an appropriate manner and try to make note of all the important formulas, and later on we'll proceed with the detailed analysis of all the subject. Once we conclude it, then we'll jump into the numerical solving. And meanwhile, while I am delivering the lectures, after having look of it, you try to solve few 3-4 basics problems by yourself, and after that I'll provide the proper strategy to how to attempt the test series, and also from where to practice a good amount of questions and also good quality of questions. So for that purpose I'll make a separate session on it. So for now you don't worry about the practice, because always keep in mind, to make the subject ready on your tip you have to do the proper strategic investment in it. So right now just don't worry about the question practice. First learn the concepts and solve few basic problems. And let us talk about our topic, capacitive sensors. And in capacitive sensors there are going to be mainly two types: parallel plate capacitor and cylindrical capacitor. And in parallel plate capacitor there are going to be three types. We'll come to that later. First let's have a look of what is the capacitance of a capacitor. Parallel plate capacitor is epsilon A by D, where epsilon is given as epsilon naught into epsilon R, where epsilon naught is the absolute permittivity or permittivity of free space, which is given as 8.85 into 10 to the power minus 12 farad per meter, whereas epsilon R is given as relative permittivity of the medium, which is also known as dielectric constant, and the value of dielectric constant is 1 in the case of air, and it has value of 80 in the case of water and 150 in the case of crystals. So the observation is that as the density of the medium increases, the relative permittivity of the medium is also going to increase, and the dielectric constant of the medium is going to increase with the density. So based on the formula there are going to be three independent terms which are going to affect the capacitance of a capacitor. So A is the overlapping area between two plates. So if we vary the area of capacitor, it is going to become as variable area type, and if we vary the separation distance between two plates, it is going to become as variable distance type capacitor. And as I talked, as the density of the medium is going to change, the relative permittivity of the medium is also going to vary. So if we vary the relative permittivity of the medium, we are going to have another type as variable permittivity type. So let's talk about all three of them one by one. So the first one is variable area type. So let us assume there are two plates. In the beginning they are not at all overlapping, they are separated. So the length of the plate is given as L and it has width W, and another plate also has the same length and width. So we are taking this particular line as a reference line, and we are saying that this is x as 0, and once the plate moves in this particular direction, this is going to produce some displacement. So let us say in second case the plate has moved a distance of x, so the length is L and the width is W, the same thing, length and width. So in the case when xi is equal to 0, the overlapping length is 0, because these plates and these plates are completely separated, they are not having any overlapping length. So overlapping length is 0, so hence overlapping area is also 0. So capacitance is epsilon A by D. So A is 0, so capacitance in the beginning is 0. Whereas in the second case the plate has moved a distance of x, So the overlapping length is going to become as x, whereas the overlapping area is going to be length into width. So the length of plate is going to be considered as x, whereas width of plate is w. So the capacitance is going to become as epsilon A by D. So this is the final capacitance, and the initial capacitance was 0. So now in the case of variable area type, if we talk about sensitivity is given as change in output divided by change in input. So the change in output, the output we are measuring as capacitance value, so final capacitance minus initial capacitance divided by the input we are measuring as displacement. So the final displacement is x, and the initial value of displacement was 0 because the plate was at a reference point. So the final value of capacitance is epsilon x w by d minus 0 initial capacitance divided by x minus 0. So the sensitivity is going to come out as epsilon x w by dx. So x and x we had cancelled, epsilon w by d. So the sensitivity of the variable area type capacitor is going to come out as epsilon w by d. So this is the basic idea about the variable area type. There is nothing much to talk about, and now we will proceed to the second type, variable distance type. And the second case, variable distance type. So the capacitance is going to inversely proportional to the separation distance between the plate. So let's consider the same example again. There is a plate of length L and width W, and there is another plate parallel to it. This is like this is one plate and this is another plate, and they are separated at a distance of d. And even in the previous case also, the d was distance of separation, I forgot to mention. So now and also this was fixed plate even in the previous case also. So now we are taking this particular point as a reference point, and we are assuming it as x equal to 0, and now we'll now we'll vary the distance between the plates. So this is length and width, this is a fixed plate, and now we are saying that this particular plate has moved up to the distance of x from the reference point. So the distance is going to become as d minus x because it has moved x upward, so the distance is going to decrease from d to d minus x. So the length is L and the width is W. So again, now in the case of relative permittivity and the area is constant, we are varying the distance now. So the overlapping distance, or just say the separation of distance, is d here, and here it is d minus x. So the initial capacitance is epsilon A. A can be written as length into width divided by d, and in the final case the capacitance is going to become as epsilon A by d minus x. So the same thing goes here. The sensitivity is going to come out as change in output divided by change in input, and the output we are measuring as capacitance. So the final capacitance minus initial capacitance. So final capacitance is d minus x minus initial capacitance is divided by d, divided by final final distance is x minus 0, because we are taking this particular point as reference point. So with respect to this we are going to measure the input, and input we are giving as distance. So if we simplify it, this is going to come out as sensitivity is equal to epsilon into length into width, we will take as common 1 upon d minus x minus 1 by d divided by x. So take the LCM, d minus plus divided by d into d minus x into x. So d and d gets cancelled. X divided by d into d minus x into x. So again x gets cancelled, so it will become as epsilon LW divided by d into d minus x. As the capacitance is inversely proportional to the separation distance, so the sensitivity is not going to come out as linear one, whereas in the previous case the sensitivity was constant. So that's the idea of variable distance type. Now let us talk about variable permittivity type as well. So again the same case, two plates are parallel having length of L and width as W, and plates in this case are going to be fixed one, because we are neither varying the area nor the separation distance. Instead we are going to vary the medium between those two plates. So both the plates are going to be fixed ones. This is the third type. So let us assume there is one dielectric medium which is having relative permittivity as ER1, and here it is going to have air which is having ER as 1. So, and this particular point which we are taking as reference point, and now in the second case we are going to move this particular dielectric inside the plates now. So in this case this plate has moved up to a distance of x inside the capacitor. So, and also the length previously before the reference point was L1 and this one was L2, and now this will become as L1 plus x because it has moved x inside, and this is going to become as L2 minus x because this length will decrease by x. So now we have to calculate a change in the capacitance value. So in the initial case we have to calculate the initial capacitance as Ci, and one more thing, as these two plates are going to have same potential difference, so this particular capacitance is going to work as C1, and this particular capacitance is going to work as C2, and they are going to be in parallel combination, because if the voltage difference between two capacitors are same, they are going to be in parallel combination. So like this. So let's say if this point is A and this point is B, so this point is going to be A and this point is B. Between A and B there is going to be one capacitance C1, this one, and between A and B again there is going to be another capacitance as C2. So they are going to be considered as in parallel combination. So in parallel combination the total capacitance is going to be as C1 plus C2. So we have to calculate the initial capacitance first. So C1 plus C2. So this C1 is epsilon naught epsilon R1 into L1 and width is W divided by D. D is plus capacitance C2 is epsilon, and epsilon R is 1, relative permittivity of air is 1, and the length is L2 and width is W divided by D. And in the final case the capacitance C1 is going to become as epsilon naught epsilon R1 into L1 plus X, width is going to be same and the separation distance is again same, plus the leftover capacitance is going to be as epsilon naught, relative permittivity of air is 1, and length is decreased from L2 to L2 minus X, and then width is same and D. And now we wish to calculate the sensitivity. So the sensitivity is going to be change in output delta C divided by change in input delta X. So the final capacitance, first let's consider calculate delta C, then we'll calculate the sensitivity. Delta C is going to be C final minus C initial. So C final is, let's multiply this, so it will become easy to simplify it, plus epsilon naught epsilon r1 x w by d, L1 w by d x w by d, plus epsilon naught L2 w by d minus epsilon naught x w by d, and minus initial capacitance epsilon naught epsilon r1 L1 w by d plus epsilon naught L2 w by d. So let's simplify it. This epsilon naught epsilon r1 L1 w by d minus this is going to get cancelled, and epsilon naught w by d and epsilon naught w by d is going to get cancelled, plus minus, and these two components are going to left behind. So that delta C is going to be as epsilon naught epsilon r1 x w by d minus epsilon naught x w by d. So it will simplify as epsilon naught common, x w by d is also common, and here it is er1 minus 1. So this is going to be change in the capacitance. So now sensitivity can be written as delta C by delta x. So epsilon naught x w by d epsilon r1 minus 1 divided by x minus 0. So x and x gets cancelled, epsilon naught w by d into epsilon r1 minus 1. So we can see that the sensitivity is completely going to depend only on the changes in the dielectric medium. So whatever the value of dielectric medium we are going to insert in the between the plates, that's going to give the sensitivity according to that. So that's the complete idea behind the parallel place capacitors, how we actually can get the variations in the capacitance with the help of varying area, distance, or relative permittivity. So but as of now this was the simple idea, but actually we have to implement these variations in the practical applications so that we can implement some instrumentation work out of it. So let's proceed with the applications now. And now let's have a look of practical example microphone, in which we are using one capacitor whose capacitance is being varied by the variations in the separation distance. So how it is going to happen is that one of the plate of the capacitor is fixed and the another plate is considered as diaphragm. On a diaphragm there is one metal plate sticked on it. So if we are giving some vibrations, sound vibrations, if we are talking on a microphone, they are going to produce sound waves. So due to that sound wave, this diaphragm is going to deflect, and due to which the variations in the distance is going to occur. So the variations in the distance are going to create the effect on the changes in the capacitance, and those changes in the capacitance are taken into the account, and the output voltage is generated according to the intensity of sound or the vibrations of the sounds. So now the detail given in the question is that the distance is varying with respect to time as 10 to the power minus 3. Whole thing is multiplied by 1 plus 0.1 sin 1000 pi t, and at t equal to 0, when there was no pressure over it, so the initial capacitance was given as 2 picofarad, and he is interested in output voltage at t equal to 2 milliseconds. So first let's make use of this particular data. So initial capacitance is going to be as epsilon A by D at t equal to 0. So this is given as 2 into 10 to the power minus 12. So we are going to get the value of epsilon A as 2 into 10 to the power minus 12 into distance at t equal to 0. So t equal to 0, if we put here sin 0 is 0, so this is going to come out as 10 to the power minus 3. So the data is given because we don't have any idea about the relative permittivity of the medium, and also we don't have any idea about the area. So that's why this particular data is given at t equal to 0, the initial capacitance as 2 picofarad. So we have the data is epsilon A equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 15. So now the current value is given as I is equal to dq by dt, and q we write as q is equal to cv. So now put the value of q as cv, and let's differentiate it. First differentiate with its capacitance. So dc by dt, so voltage is out, plus c into dv by dt. And another important thing which we have to note is that the voltage across the capacitor is going to be constant, because due to the virtual ground concept of operational amplifier, this is at 0 volt. So this another terminal is also going to be at 0 volt. So the voltage difference across the capacitor is going to be same always. So this is 5 minus 0, 5 volt. So as we see, there is one battery inside a microphone. So for this purpose only, that particular battery is provided inside that. So the changes in the voltage across the capacitor are going to be 0. So dV by dt value is going to be 0. So the current in the circuit is going to depend completely on the changes in the capacitances alone, and the changes in the capacitance are going to happen due to the variations in the distance, separation distance. So now we have to calculate dc by dt. As we know, the capacitance as epsilon A by d. So dc by dt, so epsilon A is common, and the differentiation of 1 by x is going to be minus 1 by x square. So this will come out as minus 1 by d square into d dash of t. So as we know, d of t is given as 10 to the power minus 3 whole thing multiplied by 1 plus 0.1 sin 1000 pi t. So if we differentiate it with respect to t, so the 10 to the power minus 3 is going to come out, and the differentiation of constant is 0 plus 0.1. Differentiation of sine is cos 1000 pi t into 1000 pi. So this will be as 10 power minus 3 into 10 power minus 1 is 10 to the power minus 4 cos 1000 pi t into 1000 pi. So as we are interested at t equal to 2, if we put the value at t equal to 2, this is going to become as cos 2000 pi, so which is going to be even pi, so it is going to be 1. So 10 to the power minus 4 into 1 into 1000 pi. So this will become as pi by 10. So we have two datas now. One is epsilon A value is given, and the another one is d dash of t at t equal to 0. So if we put it in this expression, I equal to V, what is the value of voltage difference? 5 minus 0 is 5, and dc by dt is epsilon A. Epsilon A is 2 into 10 to the power, let me write, otherwise we will forget it, epsilon A minus 1 by d square into d dash of t. So I will write it here. So making use of all the values we have calculated, I is going to be as 5 into epsilon A is equal to 2 into 10 to the power minus 15, and minus 1 by d square, minus 1 by d square. D at t equal to 2 we have to calculate first. So we have to put t equal to 2 here. So sine 2000 pi again is, it is going to become as 0. So 10 to the power minus 3 as in the case of t equal to 0. So this is 10 to the power minus 3 whole square, and d dash of t at t equal to 2 is pi by 10. So let's simplify it. I is going to come out as minus of, this is 5 into 2, 10 into 10 power minus 15 is 10 to the power minus 14 divided by 10 to the power minus 6 into pi by 10. So this is going to come out as minus pi into 10 to the power minus 14 divided by 10 to the power minus 5. So this is minus pi into 10 to the power minus 9. Right. So now we have to calculate the output voltage V0. So V0 is going to be minus I into RF. In the circuit diagram given. This was given as 1 mega ohm. 1 mega ohm. So this point is at point V0 and this is having at voltage 0. So if we have calculated the current I is minus pi into 10 to the power minus 9. So V is equal to IR. So this minus this 0 minus V0 is equal to I into R. 1 mega ohm. Mega means 10 to the power 6. So this is going to be V0 equal to minus I into 10 to the power 6. So if we put the value of I here, minus and minus pi into 10 to the power minus 9 into 10 to the power 6. So this minus minus plus pi into 10 to the power minus 3. So the output voltage is going to be 5 millivolt. So that's the complete idea how we were able to get the variations in the distance using the diaphragm, and that variations in the distance are going to be sensed as variation in the capacitance, and placing that particular capacitance in a particular operational amplifier circuit, we are able to get the proportional voltage output as per the sound applied on the microphone. So that's how using any type of variation, whether area, displacement or distance or permittivity, we can get the variations in the capacitance, and that particular variations we can make use of it. And this particular system also, I talked about data acquisition system in the previous classes. So this is also an example of data acquisition system where we are collecting the data of the pressure applied on the microphone as a voltage output. So we are making use of it. So now we'll proceed further with the cylindrical capacitors also. And now in the case of cylindrical capacitor, we are going to have two concentric cylinders, one of which is having the greater diameter as D1 and another one is having the smaller diameter D2. So between outer circle and inner circle, we are going to feel capacitance, and I have taken the example as liquid level measurement. So in the beginning the tank is completely empty, so the medium between the concentric cylinders are air, so the relative permittivity of air is going to be 1, and when the liquid is completely filled up to the top level, so the relative permittivity of the medium is going to become as ER, which is going to depend on the fluid which we are going to insert inside the tank. So if we write the capacitance in the empty cylinder, it is going to come as 2 pi epsilon naught, and epsilon R is going to be 1 because now it is air inside the cylinder. So and multiply by H divided by ln d1 by d2. So this is the basic formula of the capacitance, 2 pi epsilon naught epsilon R H divided by ln d1 by d2. So when the tank is completely full, so instead of air, there it is going to be medium. So only this particular thing is going to vary in this particular case. So we have used this particular variation in the capacitance in one arm of Wheatstone bridge, and another arm we are using another variable capacitor and two resistances R1 and R2. So the reason behind using the another adjustable capacitance is that when tank is empty, we need to make the zero adjustment. Like in the case of Wheatstone bridges, we were talking about, in the initial condition all the resistances are to be equal so that we does not have any voltage output. It should be zero deflection. So in this case also the deflection should be zero. For that particular thing we are using zero adjustment capacitance. So for that we have to, like in the case of Wheatstone bridges, we used to write R1 into R2 equal to R3 into R4, but here in this case we need to write R2 into Z. Impedance we need to write. We cannot just simply write R2 into C1 equal to R1 into CT. So this will be wrong. We have to take impedance in this particular branch. So R1 into 1 by j omega Ct. The impedance of the capacitor is 1 by j omega Ct, and R2 into the branch which is coming in front of it. So due to which we are going to get the output as R1 by Ct is equal to R2 by C1. This j omega and j omega gets cancelled. So we have to adjust C1 as R2 by R1 into Ct. So in the first we have to calculate the capacitance in case of empty tank. the capacitance value is going to come as CT, and then using the value of R1 and R2, we'll have to calculate the capacitance as C1, and then we have to adjust the capacitance C1 such that the output in the beginning should be 0. And now when the tank is completely filled, the capacitance is going to become epsilon R times of empty capacitance. So in that case, we can take the output voltage of bridge as C1 by C1 plus CT minus R2 by R2 plus R1. This is also again the simple voltage division, as we are talking in case of Wheatstone bridges, that if this particular point we are taking as 0 volt and the supply voltage at this particular point is Vs, and the meter resistance using which we are taking the output voltage is going to have infinite, so this path is not going to draw any current in it. And now just simple voltage division we have to write. In the case of resistance, we write the voltage division as R2 by R2 plus R1. But in the case of capacitance, again we don't talk about capacitance or inductance, we talk about impedance. So we have to be very careful while writing the voltage division. So let us say there are resistance R1 and R2, and if this is 0 volt and this is let's say Vs, so voltage across R2 is going to be R2 by R2 plus R1 into Vs. So direct voltage division we can do. But in the case of capacitance, if it is C1 and if it is C2 and if it is at 0 volt and Vs, we cannot write as C2 by C1 plus C2 into Vs. So this is going to become as wrong. Instead, we have to write as Z2 divided by Z2 plus Z1 into Vs. So the Z2 is going to be the impedance of this particular capacitance, which is going to be 1 by j omega C2 divided by 1 by j omega C2 plus 1 by j omega C1. So this is going to come out as instead of C2 by C2 plus C1, it will come out as C1 by C1 plus C2. So these basic things you have to keep in mind while dealing with the problem. Otherwise, you may end up with a small mistakes. So we can get the output voltage of Wheatstone bridge as C1 by C1 plus CT minus R2 by R2 plus R1 into Vs. So this is also an example of data acquisition system, and this is going to be known as liquid level data acquisition system, because in this case we are taking the input data as liquid level inside the tank, and the output we are going to produce as per our own requirement. So that's all for today. We have completed cylindrical capacitor as well, and also we have completed parallel plate capacitor. So with this, capacitive sensors are over, and tomorrow we are going to begin with inductive sensors. And if you have any doubt, you can mention it in the comment section. Thank you.